Shepherding Chaos, the Retail 247 podcast. Embracing change in the world of retail tech.
Hello, and welcome to the fourth edition of Shepherding Chaos. I'm Alan Morris, and I'm a non-exec director at Retail 247. And as always, joined by Martin Schofield, who's the CEO. Today we're going to do something a little different. It's towards the end of the year, nearly Christmas, and it's that time of year when you start to think about the future and where we might be going in 2021. And although 2021 is probably going to get off to a slow burn start, we've got to all hope that by the middle of the year things are starting to ignite again, and by this time next year things are looking a whole lot different from they look today. But obviously, as we go through into the new year, you look at spring cleaning and you start looking at things you want to get rid of. And one of the things that we've all discussed being a problem for retailers is the clutter, the gathering of things that you don't really want to be doing anymore. So we're going to finish this year's podcast with a review of 5 things in 5 minutes, or 5 things in 10 minutes, more likely, to that we perhaps think that we should be removing. And so, Martin.
Morning.
Morning. Yes. 5 things. So I'm going to set the timer, and I want you to talk about 5 things that you think should be removed from the retail landscape. So how does that sound? You okay?
Well, we'll give it a go.
Great. Okay. So let's go on number 1. I'm going to jump in when you've had your 2 minutes, by the way. So get ready to move on. Okay. Let's go.
Okay. As you say, it's been a pretty average year at best. So I think what we need and what we'd get rid of first is what we're going to call soapboxing. So people that are just overtly negative. We need to be a bit more positive on our outlook around how we convey things and how we talk about things in the future. By that, I mean, I'm talking about, rather than just knocking solutions or decision making, we need to offer credible alternatives and really look at how we can take things forward. So number 1, I'd say soapboxing, and turn that into positivity.
Yeah,
that's way less than 2 minutes, Alan.
It was, and actually, it's a very good point. I mean, we seem to be littered. The social media seems to be littered with industry commentators giving a view, but to me, it looks as if all their views are what's happening now, what's happened in the past. It's almost like, we're running the post-mortem before we've actually found before we found the solutions.
Yeah, and it's reflected in society generally, and politics particularly. It's very easy to criticise in hindsight. What we need is a way forward.
It is. So we need those people on the soapboxes to do a 180-degree turn, look forward while they're up there, rising above us all, and tell us what we should be doing next to create some opportunities and to
Easy to say, but I think we should at least make an effort.
Absolutely right. Okay. So that's your first one.
Excellent. Number 2. This is a long-term pet hate, I suppose, and I think the reality is becoming even more real. So projects that are measured in years, and generally long-term projects, I have a bit of a problem with. Now, as we've said on many occasions, retail is a very reactive business. It just has to be, because it's at the behest of the public most of the time, and circumstances like the last 8 months, really. So large-scale implementation projects that are measured in years and don't yield any benefit to the end of that cycle just don't have a place today, I don't think. We need short, sharp projects that can deliver benefit quickly, and those projects that don't even attempt to do that have to be consigned to the bin. Now, that said, to be able to do that, and again, we've talked about this before, we need to have a sound foundation of data, yes, but to package everything up into a huge project, we've seen so many failures, and it's just not a viable way forward.
Absolutely right. I think we discussed this previously on a previous podcast, that you're asking somebody to specify some requirements that aren't going to be delivered for 12 months. Then in 12 months' time, those requirements won't exist anymore.
I think my favourite pet phrase in all that is that people don't know what they want until they see what they can have. And it's our job as technicians to guide, to offer insight into best practice, and to offer innovative new ideas to get to where that person needs to be rather than thinks they want to be.
Absolutely.
You only do that in incremental steps.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Okay, right. Number 3.
So third on my list is tolerance for mediocrity. This hit home, I guess, when I was ops director at Harvey Nichols, and since, as we looked at stock and stock accuracy in a number of retailers, when we are talking about fulfilling customer promise with an ever-increasing frequency, same-day delivery, next-day delivery, how can we possibly tolerate stock accuracy measured around 70%? In fact, I've seen lower, I've seen higher, but anything less than high 90s or ideally 100% makes the whole process a bit stupid. We can offer same-day click and collect from store stock, but if 3 times out of 10 you can't find that stock, then the customer's going to be disappointed. But yet we talk about improving from 70 to 75 to 80% as a success, but actually it's still pretty mediocre. And I think our tolerance for the average should be dismissed.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. In the past, I remember the old adage in retail that it's better to be approximately right than it is to be precisely wrong, and that was tended to be the rule of thumb over many things. But when with Retail Assist, when we started working with ASOS taught us a very good introduced us to a whole new world where actually 100% accuracy had to be it. Yeah, if your stock figures have to be 100% accurate, your fulfillment has to be 100% accurate. There's no need for.
And it's not just a technology issue. It's 9 times out of 10 it's a process issue around that. We end up talking about stock accuracy, but this philosophy applies to lots of things. But it's often the process that leaks inefficiency rather than just technology that's a magic wand. And again, we talked about RFID being a super process to improve stock accuracy, and it is, but it's often hiding process inefficiency, and we need to tackle the root cause of all these issues. So just getting rid of that. But just to summarise, it's not patting ourselves on the head for improving stock accuracy. We need to seek perfection.
Absolutely, and in the pursuit of perfection, you took 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
I've stopped. I've finished now, and you're talking.
That's okay, right? So you can move on to number 4.
Okay, 4th. Something where I'm calling ineffective customer service. I think you had an additional word for that as well. What was it? Misplaced or something like that?
Misaligned.
Misaligned customer service. My issue always has been that retail on the shop floor tends to be viewed as a job, not a career. But yet it's the one thing that makes a massive difference in the physical retail world, and online and digital, but in the physical world, other people. People will provide good service. The benefit of that is that customers will buy more things if they're talking to somebody that's knowledgeable about the product or has been enabled to get that stock for that person, then they're going to naturally sell more. I've told a story in the past about how I've spent more in stores and not left having felt fleeced of my cash, but actually having felt that I've had good service and I'd go there again. So my issue is that we talk about our people making the biggest difference, but yet we also talk about our inability to pay minimum wage, and there's a contrast there that's just not right. So we have to look at truly believing in our people and our systems and our process to deliver exceptional service.
I think it's quite interesting that last week Lucy wrote from Retail 247 wrote a blog about Generation Z view on customer service, and obviously somebody born in the digital age who can't remember life before click and collect. And she was saying that her and her friends weren't allowed to do so, still like to go shopping, but they demand when they go into a shop that the experience is different to online in terms of the fact there's an extra dimension, and that extra dimension is actually about people. Those people, to be truly effective and to deliver that level of customer service that the younger generation want, they have to be knowledgeable about the product. They have to be trained in customer service. They're all the things that all the things that I suppose really are traditional that have to come back into play now more than.
And they have to, and those people and the solutions that we see have to be enabled to get things done. So yes, a knowledgeable assistant ultimately, if the stock is out of stock, they have to have the facilities to get that stock to the consumer. So, systems that allow them to do ordering from store or home delivery on demand. So it's a combination of people that are knowledgeable in product, knowledgeable about what they can do, and systems that enable them to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. So last point 5.
Point 5 to round up. Innovation generally, but innovation must take a forward step and not a backward step. I've seen a couple of examples of late where we've almost done innovation for innovation's sake, which I've got some empathy with, because we're looking for the next new shiny thing to get us PR, to get us marketing, to get us customer awareness. But actually, sometimes we should just make sure that we're delivering something of worth. I'm going to talk about Asda. So my biggest supermarket close by is Asda, and apologies to Asda for this. They've just replaced all their scan and go kit in the store. Brand shiny new hardware. Doesn't seem 5 minutes since the last lot of hardware that was in there, and must have cost them a fortune. But actually, it's rubbish. It's been in there a few weeks. It's already got store sticky tape holding the hardware together. The chip and pin device is loose and hanging off. It's on a very glossy, thin pole now, rather than being quite a stocky machine as it was before. But as soon as you as soon as you interact with the touchscreen, the thing starts wobbling. So it's just a step backwards. And equally, the handheld scanners that you use as a customer, it's 50% slower than it used to be. It's just innovation or change shape without making a step forward. And I think we need to make sure that any innovation we do, by definition of the words, needs to be innovative and therefore add value to what was there before.
It does. But I think also innovation, for something to be truly innovative, using the sort of definition that I've always got store by, it has to be something that you can actually roll out across your whole estate. Whether that's a pure play estate or is it actually a pure online and a physical estate combination. It's no good coming up with innovative ideas if you can't actually physically afford to roll the idea out.
I slightly disagree with you there. I agree with you on balance. That should be the intention, is to take that innovation to everywhere. But there are some times where you just want to put it into your flagship. By definition is different. Therefore, you want something glossy and shiny there, and you want to be able to shout about it in the press, and you want to get PR on the back of that exercise. But I agree with the fact that ideally you would be able to put it everywhere.
You do. But given the fact that people, even when hopefully we move through this pandemic, people will still do for a long period of time thinking about staying local. It's tagging this with omni-channel. If you actually want to have the same customer experience for all customers at all touch points, I still believe that you've really got to the jazz and ritziness of your flagship store in London has got to replicate in your stores in Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, Nottingham, anything would be
good geographic knowledge, I know them.
I know, yes. Yeah. I just try to bring things up north a bit, a bit more.
So there's probably many more things we should get rid of, but those are the top 5 that spring to mind. And that's been a useful thought process. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thanks for those insights, and that will bring the podcast for today to a close. And this will be the last one that we're going to be doing this year. So so we should be wishing everybody a happy Christmas. It seems a lot odd wishing people a happy Christmas at the moment, but as happy as it can be.
It's a relative thing, isn't it? So yes, happy Christmas to all. Thanks for listening. I think short and sharp was a good approach this time around. But speak again in the new year.
Yes, happy New Year. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Shepherding Chaos, the Retail 247 podcast. Join us next time for more tech views and insights from the people who know.